This is the High Impact Leadership Podcast.
Bringing vision into action.
Josh Vanada is a leadership and business growth coach.
I decided that I wanted to have a bigger impact.
Fueled by helping individuals and organizations thrive.
Engaged with a new passion.
Josh is a proven business leader.
To help others succeed.
Over 15 years experience in helping organizations put vision into action.
Where we provide tools and wisdom that help leaders and their organizations to thrive.
Strategy. Consistent execution. Leadership.
That's what coaching actually is. It's an unlocking of what's already there.
This is the High Impact Leadership Podcast.
Welcome back to High Impact, a podcast for leaders. My name's Josh Vanada, your host and leadership and business growth coach. On today's episode, we're going to talk about how coaches can help leaders and their organizations, and why you may consider one. In episode 1, I shared a story about how I had put on 40 pounds in what seemed like the blink of an eye. I was partially embarrassed, but more than that, I was confused. How did that happen? Now, of course, I understand how it happened, but how had I gotten so bogged down with my career, with running from one activity to the next, traveling, etc., that I lost sight of my own physical health? Since I wasn't even sure how this happened, I certainly wasn't very confident in my own abilities to solve the problem. And this is when I decided to hire a personal trainer. During our first visit, I stood on a pivot table while it did a 360 scan of my body. What it identified was where I had put on fat and where I was lacking muscle. My trainer asked me what my own goals were. He didn't push a particular agenda on me, but wanted to help me achieve what I wanted, which was to get my weight under control and to be more healthy for myself and for my family. From there, he helped me to create an exercise and nutrition plan that would help me achieve my goals. It took several months of working with him before I started to see results, but then it felt like they really started to compound. I lost nearly 20 pounds. I had less pain in my joints. I had more endurance for physical activities. I was able to breathe easier. I was sleeping more soundly. I felt better about myself. And frankly, there were times when I wanted to quit. My trainer provided accountability and a way of helping me, though, to track my progress, which kept providing fuel for me to continue to move forward. In the beginning of my time working with him, I'll admit I was borrowing his hope that this process could actually be effective. Over time, however, I learned that I didn't need to borrow his hope anymore because he helped me to achieve, and now I had confidence. I share this story with you because I think it draws close parallels to what coaches do with leaders and their teams. Let me focus on 3 main ideas. First, coaches provide real-world experience. Secondly, coaches provide proven tools. And thirdly, coaches provide accountability. Let's start with real-world experience. Now, I'm not going to reshare my career history. You can listen back to episode 1 if you want to learn more about my own career and how it's led to me becoming a coach. In the main, it's a story, however, of trying and learning, of persistent pursuit of progress, of inviting others to tell me the kind truth, of building strong teams, of navigating conflict, chaos, and COVID. One experience building on top of the next that helped me to become more wise, more seasoned, and better prepared to take on the next challenge in my career. This real-world lived-out experience grounds the solutions that I offer my clients in the strong foundation of my own leadership learnings, practices, and frankly, failures. Because you see, it's not that I'm smarter than anybody. I've just taken a lot of chances, made a lot of mistakes, and learned a lot from all of it. And so I'm not coming to my clients from a vacuum or with some untried an abstract academic concept. I'm coming, standing on the shoulders of wise people who have gone before me, my own failures, and the experience I gained in running a $100 million company. You see, I've learned that leadership can be lonely. In fact, it can be very lonely. And having someone who has made mistakes, who has lived to tell about them, who can sit with you when very few other people understand, that's invaluable. And a coach not only can offer that presence, valuable as that is, they can also ask questions that help leaders to find a way out of the position that they currently feel stuck in. We've all benefited from spending time with people who help us to think clearly. They bring us back to the main thing and then help us to see a way forward. Coaches offer a non-anxious presence that helps us to pull back as leaders, to regroup, and to chart a way forward. And leaders can borrow hope from their coaches who have real-world experience. They have led through crisis. They do know firsthand the challenges of economic pressure, of dealing and managing a toxic A player, and a new competitor entering a space in which previously they were dominant. Leaders don't have to spend any time trying to convince coaches of how difficult it is or what it's like in the real world, because we've been there. Secondly, coaches provide tools, and not just tools, but ones that have a proven track record. Now, the term tools casts a very wide net. And let's be honest with each other. Not all tools are equal. The fact is that some work and some don't. Some work in certain situations and then not in others. Coaches spend time vetting the tools available to business leaders, evaluating their effectiveness, and then helping leaders to learn how to apply them in appropriate situations. Now, a coach's ability to provide proven tools, it supports the leader's effort and helps to keep them focused both time and energy on what they need to be working on. Let me provide a couple of examples. Coaches help organizations and their leadership teams in developing effective hiring processes. The key word being effective. There are myriads of tools out there that guarantee the same thing. Not all provide it, though. Tools like top grading, job scorecards, and the Working Genius assessment, they're just a few of the tools that I use with my clients because they have proven to work time and again. I also employ other tools that help leaders to understand the difference between a cash flow and a net profit. They aren't the same, and oftentimes the way that cash flows through a business is very different than the way that profit hits the bottom line. And so it's important to understand the difference and be able to maximize cash flow at all times. We employ strategic planning tools that are simple. They evaluate current market conditions, take into consideration threats, identify your strengths, and then provide a regular rhythm that disciplines the organization to deliver the expected results. And lastly, we use tools that help leaders thrive. We help them to learn more about themselves, get focused on what their own goals are, and help them to chart a way forward for themselves and those in their organization. One of the great advantages of the tools that coaches can bring their clients is that they create order, focus, and alignment, which points an organization and its leadership team in a singular direction. So we've talked about how coaches provide real-world experience. We've talked about how coaches provide proven tools. Now let us turn our attention to how coaches provide accountability. Now, I'll admit, I think that the word accountability is greatly misunderstood in our time and society. Regrettably, I think it has come to mean something with a negative connotation in which someone is looking to catch another person. I got you. I saw you do that. Those results aren't what they're supposed to be. That's not what, in fact, is at the core of real accountability. What is at its center, however, is integrity, in which what a leader or an organization intends to do, they set out to do, they commit to do, is in fact what happens. They align. And in that way, I rather like what my coaching colleague, Paul Williams, he's a coach from Canada. I rather like the way he refers to accountability, which as a way of holding someone capable to what they said they were going to do. It's in checking in with leaders, hearing monthly, quarterly, and annual reports that a coach can ask questions and provide insights with the only intention of helping the leader in the organization to achieve those very things that they are capable of. With job scorecards, departmental and organizational scoreboards, and key performance indicators, coaches help to provide focus to their clients. In the same way that my trainer was not trying to catch me, he was regularly checking in and visiting to make sure that I was in fact on track with the physical activity and the nutrition plan to lose the weight that I told him I wanted to lose. Similarly, coaches regularly check in to ensure that leaders and organizations are on track to achieve their ambitious dreams. We all need someone who believes in us and cares deeply enough for us to hold us to the high bar, to live our best life, and to achieve the great things that we were made for. Coaches believe you are capable of all of that. And so we provide accountability in its purest form, the act of actually holding you capable of being that. So coaches provide accountability, they provide proven tools, and they also provide real-world experience. That's great. How would I know if I would want to benefit for all of that? Or how would I know if I maybe should hire a coach? Well, there are several reasons why someone would, and we'll get into them in a minute. But before diving into those, I would say that it's important, and I want to put this disclaimer in there, that it's important that anyone desiring a coach, or in fact hiring one, is not demonstrating that they're weak. I actually would say I think it's strength. And it's not an admission of failure to interview coaches or to hire one. It doesn't even mean you're struggling. In the same way that I chose to employ a personal trainer before I got diabetes, a heart condition, or a myriad of other health concerns, I proactively sought out the experience, the tools, and the accountability of someone who could help me get into better physical shape before I had to deal with all of those problems. The best defense is good offense. First reason why you might consider hiring a coach. Maybe you feel stuck, like I did. I had put on all this weight and I didn't know what to do. I knew that there was something better out there for me. Maybe you know there's something better out there for yourself or your organization, but you're not sure where to begin. You feel like you're just stuck right now. Maybe the organization or the leadership desires an independent assessment to see how healthy the organization is, to see where they're positioned in the market, and how they can identify a clear strategy to move forward amidst the chaos and the busyness of life. Secondly, many clients that I've been talking to recently are sharing that amongst their top 3 challenges, their number one is their workforce. They have retirements that are going on, and they're having trouble filling the vacancies that those retirements are creating. With the acceleration of remote work during COVID, work-life balance and personal fulfillment, they're now so important, more than they've ever been at any other point in recent history. Gallup is regularly surveying people to find out what their most common preferences are and helping to provide that information to organizations. And frankly, friends, in reviewing all of that data, it's not a clear-cut answer. So coaches can help organizations by reviewing their current strategy for recruiting, hiring, onboarding, and retaining employees. They can help to create organizational alignment from top to bottom that strengthens culture and delivers consistent results. The third reason why someone may want to hire a coach is that there is constant change going on in the marketplace. As individuals, we felt this personally during COVID with the quickly evolving social, public health, and economic conditions. It certainly found its way into all of our organizations and it manifested in a myriad of different ways, but supply chain shortages, staffing issues, and the necessity to stand up a remote work platform basically overnight were some of the most pressing. Now that things are a bit more stable, organizations are finding it's difficult to refocus themselves without the constant rate of change and all the loud noise going on. And so they need to revisit their strategic plan. And what this does is it puts organizations back on offense and stops them from being reactive. A coach can help a leadership team to evaluate their current market position, identify opportunity, and chart a way forward that gets them off their heels and back onto their feet. Fourthly, maybe you've had the extremely frustrating experience of an organization delivering inconsistent results. Month to month are enormous swings, from barely eking out a profit to nearly breaking a record. Many times organizations will identify this as a strategy problem and try to pivot, to which I'd say, not so fast. It certainly could be the core issue, but there is an even more likely possibility that it's an execution problem. Oftentimes, leaders in their organizations, they confuse creating a strategic plan with executing one. And while they're related, they are separate. And a coach can help you to evaluate that you have the right people in the right positions to succeed. They can help you to create a scoreboard to ensure you are tracking the right things, consistently reporting on the results, and achieving your targets. They can help you to develop an operating system and a meeting cadence that creates alignment throughout the organization so everyone's focused on the main priorities for that particular quarter or year. Fifth and finally, why should I hire a coach? Why might I consider it? Coaches can help to navigate the stressful waters of cash management. As you know, net profit and cash aren't the same thing. Understanding how cash flows through your business will not only help your balance sheet, but it will help you sleep better at night. It will provide you with the capital on hand when opportunity comes knocking, and it will help you to weather any storm. Coaches have tools that can help executive teams to identify what their cash flow cycle is and how to make a significant improvement in short order. Well, maybe you're skeptical of whether coaching is for you. That's fine. Maybe you're curious, still wondering exactly how it works. And here's my gift to you for listening. A 1-hour coaching call. We can tackle the most pressing issue in your organization that's causing you stress, anxiety, lack of sleep. Or you can use the time to answer or to get any questions answered that you may have about coaching. To take me up on this offer, visit josh-vanada.com. Once again, that's josh-vanada.com. josh-vanada.com. And drop me a line on our Contact Us page. I started my coaching business because I don't believe that our hopes are made to disappoint. I believe that human beings are made to thrive. Our organizations are capable of growing beyond our highest hopes and adding value to the world. And I believe that we are all smarter and better together. You were made to make an impact, a high impact. Thanks for listening to our podcast, leaders. Be sure to follow us on social media, visit our website, and recommend it to other high impact leaders. Tune back in next week for another episode of High Impact, a podcast for leaders.